Lionel's Polar Express has been a popular set for many years since the movie arrived on the big screen. However, the disengage version, introduced in late 2015, has had a reputation for poor smoke, especially with the small power pack supplied with the set. Even with the larger chopped wave power pack as recommended by Lionel, the smoke often runs out after a few minutes of operation. A few operators have sent their 1225 engines back to Lionel for repacking of the smoke unit while still under warranty. If your engine has gone out of the 1-year warranty, you could pay for this fix or do it yourself, as some operators have done successfully. Here's a guide to that do-it-yourself fix. I recommend these tools: small Phillips head screwdrivers, a clamp, and a couple of tweezers. You can get them at Amazon. Put the engine detached from the tender into your loco holder and remove the 4 screws that hold the chassis to the boiler. There are 2 screws behind the trailing truck and 2 screws up front right next to the cylinder. Carefully lift the chassis away from the boiler. There is a protective cover on the electronics. Remove it. You can skip this step if you like and go directly to removing the plug from the smoke unit. However, by removing the plugs from the circuit board, you will not stress the solder connection to the headlight as much. Carefully remove the headlamp plug and the smoke unit plug. The arrows show their location on the circuit board. To remove the smoke unit, unscrew the extension plate and the headlamp boiler front assembly. There are 4 screws for the extension plate and 1 for the headlamp boiler front assembly. Make sure you distinguish the screws for the extension plate. 2 in the front are small and go into the threaded holes at the front of the extension plate. The other 2 fit through the unthreaded holes of the extension plate and into the threaded holes of the smoke unit. The headlamp boiler front screw is the largest of the 5 screws. Now, with your ring finger, push the smoke unit back while tipping it up with your right hand to disengage it from the smokestack. Disconnect the smoke unit 4-conductor harness from the smoke unit. There are 3 tiny and tightly torqued screws holding the top plate to the smoke unit. Remove them. The original batting will probably show a matted mass of brown crud which has lost its wicking ability. Remove it and clean the resistor as best you can. Don't scrape it. You could break the wire on the resistor. Check the resistance of the heating element to be sure it is working. I got 20 ohms on mine. It's probably about 16 by design. Use fiberglass to re-wick the smoke unit. I obtained my supply from Amazon. Wrap a small amount around the resistor. Be careful not to block the fan or the smokestack opening. Now reassemble. I ground the tiny screws down a few millimeters with my Dremel tool since they seem too long for their threaded holes. Now your re-wicked smoke unit is ready. Notice that the top of the smoke unit has a mating hole for the underside of the smokestack and the engine boiler. When you insert the smoke unit into the boiler, these must match up. Wiggle the smoke unit until it fits into the boiler stack. It will take some maneuvering to do so. Work from the front as well as the rear, like you did when you took it out. This will allow you to get the proper fit. Align the extension plate with the threaded holes toward the front. You can place a toothpick into one of these forward holes to hold it while you screw in one of the smaller screws to the other hole. Do not tighten yet. This may take 3 hands, but the toothpick helps. With the extension plate held steady once again, make sure the smokestack is aligned with the smoke unit, and then add the remaining 3 screws. Make sure the larger screws go in the back of the extension plate. Plug the wire harnesses back to the smoke unit and to the circuit board. Make sure they click in place. If you removed the protective cover, replace it and lock it in place with the tabs. Drop the chassis into the boiler and fasten it with the 4 screws, smaller screws in the front and larger with the washers in the rear. Now your 1225 is ready for the high rail and should smoke as it was intended.